This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we have a dryer that's making a lot of noise. This is an older Whirlpool gas dryer that has a gas valve that's making a little bit of racket. So when it starts up initially on the first cycle, it does really good. It creates a good flame, there's no noise, but then the second cycle it starts making noise. So I'm going to pop off this panel in the front and I'm going to set it for time dry, and then I'll start it up and then kind of monitor what it's doing to see if I can figure out what it is on the gas valve that's acting up. These have kind of interesting, these older ones have kind of interesting gas coils that are a little bit different from the modern ones we're used to. So we got it spinning and it sounds fine. And then a little bit into this I can hear the coils click and I can see the igniter start to glow, and then lets the gas flow in. And I'm going to time it and see how long we have a flame. So we should be getting around 2 to 3 minutes of flame. And if it's shorter than that, it could be due to an obstructed vent tube that's making it cut out too soon, or it could be worn out gas valves. But I know that these are brand new gas valves that have been put in here recently. So we are going to get the right amount of time on the flame, which ended up being about 2 minutes. But then after it cooled down and fired up its second cycle of heating, a second flame, then we're getting a lot of weird noise, like a vibration noise coming from the gas valve. So this video is going to show us how to deal with that, some ideas that may work, and we're able to correct it. So at about 1:33, the flame started up again. The second time we can hear a lot of vibration, and that's something bouncing back and forth, maybe due to one of the gas valves not being lined up correctly. So I'm going to loosen up this one on the left. There's 2 screws holding it in, one close to me and then one on the other side of it. And I'm going to take off that gas valve and just take a look at it. And I'm actually going to use a little bit of oil to lubricate the stem so that it can move more readily. You don't want to use very much oil though, just a little bit, a couple of drops. So I've got it unplugged now, and I'm zipping out these 2 screws that are holding on this gas valve. Just going to use my fingers to undo them. Yeah, the modern gas valves, primary and secondary, are so easy to pop in and out, but with these older ones, it's a real pain in the neck. You can buy these gas valve kits though for these older ones if you're not interested in replacing the whole gas valve. If you keep the old gas valve, you can get these old style coils still. They're still available. So now I'm reaching over to the other side to undo the other screw. And that's holding this silver steel bracket that's holding the gas valve in position. This is the one that is affecting. I'm going to turn off the gas here with this little gas valve here by my right hand. I turned it 90 degrees. And this first one I'm dealing with is affecting the igniter. One of them is definitely noisy. So I got the screws off, and now I'm going to lift it up gently, get it off of the stem. There we go. And then there's another plate below that. We're going to lift that off. And then there's a little rubber O-ring that is still on there. We're just going to leave that in position. That helps to seal it. We're going to lift this stem up and down. We're going to put a couple of drops on it. Give it a tiny bit of lubrication. It's just basically like 3-in-1 oil or mineral oil. Nothing too fancy. Put that plate back on the gas valve assembly, and I'm going to put that back into position. Get it over the stem, and then you have to kind of wiggle and push down to get it to sit all the way flat against the valve body. And then I'll go ahead and add those screws in. I'll get them in finger tight, and then I'll use my ratchet to get them pretty tight. Then I'll run a test and see if we got rid of that weird vibration. The vibration, again, interestingly, doesn't happen on the first heating cycle. It happens on the second heating cycle. So you're still getting that same problem. Sometimes tapping the valve body will make it go away. In this case, we still get the sound. So I'm thinking it may have something to do with the other gas coil. So I got it unplugged again, and I'm going to undo the same procedure. I'm going to undo those two screws, and I'll just same thing. I'll lift it off, and I'll lubricate that stem, and then put it back on. A little hard to get to the screw behind, but if you have a small ratchet, it should be no problem. Got to make sure you turn the gas valve 90 degrees. It's this one over by my right hand. So we got that gas valve turned. I got the coil off. I'm putting a little bit of oil on. And kind of move it around so the oil can feed down in there. I'm going to put it back into position. I'll wiggle it down to get it to where it's flat against the valve body, and then I'll put in those screws again just by hand tight, and then I'll tighten with the ratchet. And then I'll make sure I remember to turn the gas back on, this little valve by my right hand, and I'll give it a test. So these are unusual because usually they're not around anymore, but these are such good machines that this one's still going. I believe this one would be called the Whirlpool Series 70, Series 60 or Series 70 gas dryer. So I'm just getting those two screws tight, and then I'll turn on the gas, plug it in, we'll give it a try. Tighten up the other side. So I'm going to plug it back in, set for time dry, gas is on, turn it on, and we'll monitor how it does. If this didn't do the trick, the next thing would be to put in a whole new gas valve body. But this actually did work. So now in the second heating cycle, we don't get that vibration. We have good heat, and it's working normal. Something about the oil helped it to not vibrate. So a little bit of an unusual repair, but I hope that's helped you. We're going to put this panel back on. We'll just slip it over its bottom prongs, and we'll close it up, and it's a done deal. Lock that in. There we go. So hopefully this helps you with your dryer. Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance. Thanks again.